welcome to the new year. This is your January 2024 soul story. If you've got sun rising or moon in the sign, you may find that this reading resonates for you. It's Romy. I appreciate you taking the time to join me. We are going to open up this month with the energy of the King of Wands. And this fire element that he brings is definitely speaking your language. And the first few days are powerful and potent for you, actually. Mercury stations direct in your sign on the 2nd, really helping to clear something up for you, either directly as you engage with another person, or the information comes to light, or you yourself just have the breakthrough and the realization in regards to something. And we also have Venus in your sign through to the 23rd, and Mercury still through to the 14th. And so we want to be able to kind of build on how that energy is supporting you. And early on in January, you need to be brave in asking for what you want, and more importantly, what you deserve. There is ideas that are now starting to take shape and form. And we just need you to be consistent in that first couple of weeks, because little by little, even if it's just giving some time and consideration regularly, is going to make a huge difference, because they are set to become a very powerful part of your journey through the course of this year. I think there's also almost like a new experience that is interesting and kind of curious to you, but I think you might need a little convincing as it might be presented. Or you might be invited to sort of participate in something in that early part of the month. You need to be careful with your energy in January for sure. And I do think that having new experiences is going to be important, because one of the things that we need to do is to sort of feel our way into the new frequency of what this year represents to us, and how it kind of activates, and what it's feeling like. And of course there's always that sort of sense of a slight hangover from the previous year, but what we're looking at, especially as Mars shifts into Capricorn from the 4th, is a sense of direction, and asking ourselves and others the really important questions. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Is this realistic? And so that kind of helps you with a sense of discernment. And I also see something kind of feeling a little bit ambiguous. It feels like what someone is saying or how they're saying it, or even Sagittarius, it could be you in terms of what you're presenting or how you're expressing yourself. And, if it is you, it could be just because you're trying to sort of hedge your bets, or you still have an element of uncertainty in regards to something. But where we come up against this slight ambiguous energy, it does require us to ask more direct questions. And I think that will be something that you will be prepared to do, even if you feel like it could unsettle something that appears to be moving along harmoniously. And there's always that sense of, do I really want to put the cat amongst the pigeons? But frankly, I think we need to, because we just need to make sure that we are sort of on the same page, and that we do have the same outlook and intentions as we move things forward, okay? Sometimes we need communication, sometimes we need silence, and we exist between these two truths. But I think there's really a requirement for you early on in the month to ensure that you're not sort of blindly accepting or moving in the direction of something, when you're just having that inner voice that's trying to tell you, hold up, wait a minute, is there something here that we haven't seen, or we haven't asked about, or we haven't just fully understood or comprehended, okay? So keep this in mind. Now, as we make our way towards the new moon Capricorn on the 11th, coming in at 20 degrees, we have this kind of really grounded experience for us to be able to sort of have a launch pad, platform, if you like, to kind of really consider how we want to make the most, not just of this month, but really just kind of this next 6 months, because we are going to have 2 full moons in Capricorn in 2024. So it makes it sort of even more potent as we consider and think about the intentions that we're setting, and how we are working with this influx of new energy from Capricorn. And for you, of course, It lights up that second house of value. Also possessions, also prosperity. So there's a lot going on as you consider your income, how you source income, like how it comes to you. And again, the ways in which we're taking these ideas and starting to bring them into some sense of tangible form. So you have a big kind of culmination that's going to arrive later on in the year, mid-year, with these 2 full moons. And so if you have that sort of urgency to want to go work on something, even if it feels like, oh, it's not quite ready, or maybe even my energy levels, I'm not sure, but it's still calling you and kind of feeling like it's really persistently asking something of you, the setup or the preparation that you put in January, even if it's a small amount, you know, I'm not sort of saying like take on the world if you're still feeling like you're in hibernation mode. But nonetheless, the King of Wands is sort of advocating for this bigger visionary understanding of where this is going to take you, and therefore why it matters to devote a little energy and attention towards it at this moment. But that also requires you to see yourself like in a new light, if you like. And if you're sort of wavering or doubtful, or, you know, feeling into a slightly more kind of bluesy energy this time of year, which is really natural, then, you know, take the time to kind of really consider all of the reasons to keep going with something, because you're going to realize quite quickly how much it means to you. And that's what we need to kind of activate within you. That's going to be the motivating force and the thing that can ignite the flame. And it can't really come from anyone else. You know, you can, to a certain degree, receive some inspiration and be slightly influenced by others. But if you can't find for yourself the reasons why you should keep going with this, or why it still matters, or why it's still significant, then, you know, it's going to be harder to be able to sustain what it's going to take to be able to kind of really bring it through in a manifesting way. Now, that new moon also has some conversations going on with Uranus and Neptune. And so Uranus brings a few twists and turns and some surprises to the table. That does not have to be something that you cannot take in your stride. In fact, I kind of feel like it helps you connect the dots, and it's almost like doesn't particularly surprise you. You may feel a little bit exasperated by somebody. And in a way, I sort of want to say, like, maybe this is going to help you to stop making excuses for them or their behavior or something. So it does feel like there's a little bit of like almost kind of interference going on by way of news or information that is a surprise, but not really a surprise. Okay. What we do also have though around this time is an opportunity to really come together and perhaps to sort of share and open up and feel really good about some of the things that you've come to realize or are actually coming in for you. And I do think that you have some incredibly supportive energies. You know, here's your sort of ride or die people. And, you know, that sense of like, you've really been with me through everything. And now I want to share with you how it's helped me, how it's supported me, how it's changed me. And, you know, just that acknowledgement is going to go a huge way, I think, with the people around you, and also might lead to even like new opportunities or understanding or strengthening of those connections and relationships. So that's also coming up in a really beautiful way. Neptune wants us to have these kind of transcendent spiritual experiences. And again, maybe as I tap into this idea of you having like a new experience that, you know, you may need a little convincing around, you know, this is sort of talking to you and kind of speaking a language that says, you know, this is going to be helpful. It's going to enable you to tap into something much deeper within yourself. And, you know, take your time around this. Do it right. You know, we don't want to rush something. We don't want to arrive at a destination feeling like we kind of had less than what we started with, less of things that are of value to us, you know, not what we inherently need to release or to let go of. So this is a powerful new moon. Now, the next day we have Juno, asteroid goddess, stationing retrograde in Virgo. And with this, it kind of casts up a whole series of imperfections, perhaps, that, start out as something that can be a bit irritating or annoying, or that, you're not particularly happy with, and then very quickly can grow arms and legs. And this retrograde is kind of with us through till April 21st. So what's going on here? Remember, Juno rules commitment. So partnerships, agreements, legal contracts, marriages, anything of this nature that we feel like there's some red flags. We're in a period of kind of reviewing and reflecting, and thinking about what we've received, what we've gained versus, what we've invested. And if you're not careful, that can amplify itself and, cause a fracture line where there doesn't necessarily need to be one, although for some of you it may be that there is an expiration date, and that's become really clear to you, and you're going to have to deal with that and acknowledge that. But for others, it's more about, we need to make improvements to this, because left unattended, left, not dealt with, this is going to become an issue down the line. And so, our Seven of Pentacles tells us that, we can have a bit of frustration and dissatisfaction about the timing or the way in which something is coming to us, but there's still been a lot invested here. So, if this is more professional, legal agreements, it might be looking at, break clauses, or, including something that just enables more freedom or something to flow more openly. If it's more about marriages and relationships and partnerships that are going on, again, there's this kind of taking stock moment. And, we do have a little bit of the cold, hard light of day in January. So sometimes that can be a bit somber and sobering for us, especially with Capricorn, because, we can err on the side of caution. And then we've got Virgo. So we've got these very sort of risk averse energies kind of showing up. And for you, Sagittarius, especially as Venus is in your sign right now, and you're just like, hey, let's keep moving, let's keep going. I'm seeing this, I want to see more, I want to, kind of experience more. And there's that hunger and that drive. So that could feel like a little bit of a conflict for you. And even if it does sort of, bring up some shadow tendencies, or a need to kind of look at the darkness, and if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the time of year, right? We're kind of peering into the dark. But in many ways, the dark challenges us in so many more powerful ways than the light does. As we sort of peer into the void, into the uncertainty or the unknown of something, it's holding such sacred answers for us. And again, it needs your bravery to be able to explore that. So I think be prepared and be up for that challenge and that journey, because not only will you be able to renegotiate, and remember, this isn't just January specific, because that retrograde will play out till April, but that journey not only will help you to kind of renegotiate, it will also, for you on the way, kind of help heal and show you and demonstrate to you where perhaps choices and decisions that you made in the past that kind of got you into that specific agreement or commitment, came from a less empowered place. Yeah, and that's not to judge, it's just to reflect and to realize how much you've grown and changed, because in this second house energy of Capricorn season, it is about how you now exercise and, express that new sense of your own innate value and how that translates across the board. So I think it's going to be a really powerful time. The Tower will tell us that something has to give, something has to change, something needs to go. And where you are feeling into that expiration date, it's almost like get out ahead of it and deal with it straight away, because if you don't, then it's likely to kind of have an impact of its own anyway. Because when we hold on to something longer than we should, things start to become more difficult and lessons become much more expensive to us. So when we're not learning them or not acting upon what we've learned, and you're past that, you're better than that, you've evolved beyond that. So even though we may have an inevitability about how the Tower wants to come in and create, a trajectory change for you, we can kind of be a willing participant in it. And we can see it coming and we can be like, okay, this is not comfortable, but it's necessary. It's like there's a moment where I'm just going to have to rip the band-aid off. And if we can kind of look at it in that way, this becomes something that's hugely advantageous to us, even if we know we're going to have some temporary discomfort until we arrive at a destination that feels more balanced for us. Yeah. So we're going to move out of Capricorn season into Aquarius on the 20th. And then on the 21st, Pluto shifts into the sign. Of course, that's going to throw up to us the type of things we're going to be working on over this next prolonged cycle. And, you'll be feeling it in the collective powerfully. And that tower could even be reverberations of things going on in a wider capacity, but they still have the influence to hit you, in terms of, economically or, in the collective, and, it just might have a direct hit for something that's going on for you. That said, we sort of have the sunshine after the storm experience going on here. So, our awareness of 2024, and it's kind of echoed by the fact that it's like a numerology 8 year, right? So it's like the development of our personal power and our ability to be able to achieve and really gain reward and material advancement through our realistic attitude and outlook and the endeavors and what we put in. Like we get out what we put in. So it can be a hard working year and a kind of a hard slog, and it's like a relentlessness, but it really allows us to prosper because we carve out within us this kind of determination to keep going whatever it takes. And that is necessary when we're up against challenging external influences. It also brings growth, a huge amount of growth. And the difference that we have this year, even comparative to last year, is that, a lot of your spiritual journey is strengthened to the degree that you're now more awakened and you take more heed of that inner voice. You're trusting it more than you ever have before. So we now have access to this transcendent higher vibrational energy, and we can pull it down and we can draw it and we can direct it toward the more physical earthly experiences that we're having, where we're putting the work in, and then we get the blossoming and the growth. So, it's all, of course, divinely orchestrated. We need it this year more than ever. We need to acknowledge and to face things. We need to just be really honest about how tough and how difficult and what it's going to take, frankly. But at the same time, we also don't lose hope, and we're able to kind of tap into this support system that exists for us, both interdimensionally, but also the people that kind of come in around us. And what we're seeing happen as we make our way toward the end of the month, we've got this really dynamic, passionate, empowering full moon in Leo coming in at 5 degrees, fellow fire sign, always going to work well for you. There's some opposition, there's a square happening with Jupiter, which means that there's some tension building, but the tension can kind of bring out the best in us. So we have sort of dramatic scenes playing out. We have a lot of emotions spilling into the room and passion heightened, but we can also really perform here. We can take the stage. We can say what's on our mind. We can be upfront and direct and honest, and we'll do it loudly and we'll do it proudly, and we'll really advocate for ourselves, and we'll really ensure that we are seen and recognized and heard. And, that willingness to kind of put your heart on the line is incredibly infectious. So it will bring about support for you, and it will bring about understanding, and it will, I think, just give you that rising sense of confidence that, yeah, I'm doing the right thing, and I'm on the right track. We need to be mindful that the full moon will also bring a lot of attention seeking, and the drama that comes with that can be very distracting. And, there could be a few rumbles, especially as Uranus goes direct on the 27th, right under the full moon gaze. So again, more surprises, twists and turns, a build-up of tension that says you must take an action, you must do it now, and it must be revolutionary. So there's like a high stakes feeling around that moon, which could also kind of call into that tower experience. But overall, I think it's one that you can really help work for you. And if you need to be at your best, like Leo's going to help you shine here. Okay, so it's again giving the month time to sort of build in its energy and for you to become energized. Like you'll feel more comfortable and confident in Aquarius energy because it's going to be that air along with your fire that feels a bit more ignited and combustible. And of course, we're into third house then, so it's about what you're saying and how you're saying it, and it making the difference in terms of, you know, how you're able to mobilize people, or how you're able to, you know, feel good about what you're doing or where you're going, and kind of how people respond. So, you know, it's going to be quite a powerful, dynamic movement and growth experience through this month. And at times, you know, that can feel disorientating when we're still trying to find our feet, if you like. And, you know, for some it will be this oscillating between hibernating and then feeling like, oh God, I kind of need to hustle. I need to sort of really bring it. And knowing that it doesn't have to be one or the other for the entirety of the month. If you can sort of shape shift with that mutability that you have, you know, within your own elemental energy, and your own natural essence, that will serve you incredibly well. Now, if you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we look at in the extended reading. I talk for another 30 minutes or so, and you will also receive insights around a personal question that you have, and a relationship card as well. So you can find the link for that in the comment and description box underneath. I'm going to go ahead and clarify these cards and just see the direction we will take that extended reading in. Okay, so our King of Wands comes in with the Devil and another energy of the Lovers. A lot of passion coming through here. Venus in your sign is going to be definitely bringing that around. You might have that sensation of either wanting to give somebody the world, or someone saying to you they want to give you the world. The Devil is there though as a little reminder of temptation. Empress, 9 of Cups, Temperance. There's definitely a generosity coming through. Another 7 of Pentacles there. There's a generosity coming through here. That really translates well for me, like as I sort of feel into kind of what you're capable of in terms of what you can offer, and it really being powerful actually. But also kind of what you can receive by way of help and support from others. Ace of Cups, 7 of Wands. Okay. Tower bringing a 3 of Swords with us. So yeah, I mean, okay, you know, we have a little upset we're going to have to navigate. Let's have a look at some oracles and see how they want to join this conversation. This is my own deck, so if you have not already checked it out, please do so over on my website. You have the Rainbow Dragon and the Wild Rose. Sacral Energy. Portals of Possibility. Beautiful cards. Encoded Footprints. Spirals of Love and Grief. Alchemize the Ache. Okay. Again, there's this feeling of like the sunshine after the storm, you know, so regardless of how this may affect us, there is a sensation of you being able to kind of quickly rebalance and move through this experience with a huge amount of humility and a courage. You have the energy of the World. And finally, we have communication. Sagittarius, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll come on to the extended. It helps me to keep showing up every month on the channel. Have a great January. Take care of yourself and everyone you love. And I will see you again next time. Bye for now.